Moon versus Mars survival deathmatch. Picture this, you're ripped from your cozy bed, no time for coffee, and suddenly you're standing on the surface of the moon. No spacesuit, no warning, just you, the stark lunar landscape, and the infinite blackness of space. How long do you have? Minutes? Seconds? This isn't some sci-fi thriller, folks, this is a cosmic survival scenario, and the cosmos plays for keeps. On this episode of Moon vs. Mars survival deathmatch, we're diving headfirst into a celestial showdown. We're pitting the moon, our familiar cratered companion, against Mars, the red planet beckoning us towards dreams of colonization. But forget about futuristic habitats and terraforming for now. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty of survival. Buckle up as we explore the brutal realities of each world, comparing their deadliest features and uncovering which one offers the most agonizingly creative ways to expire. Let's get ready to rumble. Gasping for breath, the airlessness. Up there. Let's talk about the air we breathe, or rather the lack of it. You see, both the moon and Mars share one tiny, inconvenient detail. They're practically devoid of breathable atmosphere. On Earth we're spoiled with a nitrogen-oxygen cocktail that keeps us going. But step onto the lunar surface and you'll experience the true meaning of taking your breath away. The moon's almost non-existent atmosphere, what little there is a wisp of gases like helium and neon. It's so thin, it makes the air at the top of Mount Everest seem like a deep-sea diver's dream. You wouldn't even have time to gasp for air before you black out from lack of oxygen. It'd be like sucking on an empty juice box, except that juice box is your only source of life-sustaining air. Now Mars isn't much better. It does have an atmosphere, but it's about 100 times thinner than Earth's and mostly composed of carbon dioxide. That's right, the stuff we exhale, so while you might eke out a few desperate breaths, it wouldn't be long before your body started screaming for oxygen. Imagine trying to breathe through a straw submerged in water, not exactly a recipe for a long and healthy life. But it's not just the lack of oxygen that'll get you. The extremely low pressure on both the moon and Mars would cause the gases dissolved in your blood to literally bubble up like opening a shaken soda bottle. This is called ebulism, and it's as unpleasant as it sounds. Your blood would essentially fizz, leading to rapid swelling, excruciating pain, and ultimately, a rather explosive end. So whether you're on the moon or Mars, one thing's for sure, without a spacesuit, you're toast. But hey, at least you'd get a front row seat to a spectacular view of Earth, for the few fleeting moments before everything goes dark. Temperature torture, from frigid to fiery. Let's face it, Earth is pretty comfortable, temperature-wise. Sure, we have our extremes, but they pale in comparison to the wild swings you'd experience on the moon or Mars. Think of it like this. Earth's temperature range is like listening to a smooth jazz track, while the moon and Mars are more like a death metal concert. Loud, chaotic, and potentially lethal. The moon, with its lack of atmosphere to speak of, is like a bare rock sitting under a cosmic heat lamp. During the day, the surface can reach a scorching 253 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to boil water, or in this case, your blood. You'd be literally baking under the sun's glare, with no ozone layer to protect you from those harmful UV rays. And if you think that's bad, just wait until the lunar night sets in. Without an insulating blanket of air, temperatures plummet to a bone-chilling minus 243 degrees Fahrenheit. That's colder than anything found naturally on Earth. Cold enough to freeze your bodily fluids faster than you can say lunar eclipse. Now Mars might seem balmy compared to the moon's extremes, but don't let that fool you. It's still a harsh mistress when it comes to temperature. While the average temperature is a somewhat manageable minus 81 degrees Fahrenheit, Mars experiences wild swings depending on the time of day and season. Imagine this, you're trekking across the Martian surface, bundled up for the frigid temperatures. Suddenly, the sun dips below the horizon and the thermometer plummets by over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in a matter of hours. That's like going from wearing a parka in Antarctica to stripping down to your skivvies in the Sahara Desert. Not exactly ideal for survival. So, whether you're being slow-cooked by the lunar sun or flash-frozen in the Martian night, one thing's for certain, you're in for one heck of a temperature roller coaster ride. And trust me, you won't want to buy a souvenir photo at the end of this one. Chapter 3. Radiation Roulette, the Invisible Killer. Here on Earth, we're pretty lucky. Our planet's magnetic field and thick atmosphere act like a cosmic force field, shielding us from the relentless bombardment of radiation from space. But venture out to the moon or Mars and you're essentially playing a deadly game of cosmic roulette. Think of it like this. Earth is a cozy cabin in the woods, protecting you from a raging blizzard, while the moon and Mars are like standing naked in that same blizzard with only a thin sheet for cover. Spoiler alert, you're not going to last very long. The moon, with its non-existent magnetic field and wispy atmosphere, offers practically zero protection from the sun's constant barrage of charged particles. We're talking solar flares, coronal mass ejections, basically, the sun sneezing out high-energy protons and electrons at nearly the speed of light. Imagine standing in front of a dental X-ray machine that never turns off. That's the kind of radiation exposure you'd be dealing with on the moon. It wouldn't be long before your cells started to fry, your DNA would begin to unravel, and your risk of cancer would skyrocket faster than a SpaceX rocket launch. Mars, while slightly better off than the moon with its thin atmosphere and weak magnetic field, isn't exactly a radiation sanctuary. It's like wearing a raincoat in a hurricane. It might offer some protection, but you're still going to get soaked. The constant bombardment of galactic cosmic rays, high-energy particles from beyond our solar system, would be a constant threat. These particles can penetrate through spacesuits and spacecraft, damaging your cells and increasing your risk of long-term health problems. So whether you're being bombarded by solar flares on the moon or showered with cosmic rays on Mars, one thing's for sure, your DNA wouldn't know what hit it. It's like playing a cosmic slot machine where the only jackpot is a one-way ticket to a radiation-induced illness. Chapter 4. Gravity's grip, feeling lightheaded or weighed down. We take gravity for granted here on Earth. It keeps our feet on the ground, our coffee from floating away, and our bones and muscles strong. But venture out to the moon or Mars, and you'll experience gravity's effects in a whole new, potentially debilitating way. The moon, with its significantly weaker gravitational pull, about 1/6 of Earth's, might sound like a funhouse attraction at first. Imagine bouncing around like Neil Armstrong, effortlessly dunking a basketball and feeling lighter than a feather. But this low-gravity paradise comes with a hefty price. Over time, your muscles would atrophy, your bones would weaken, and your cardiovascular system would become as lazy as a cat on a hot summer day. It's like spending your entire life on a strict diet of potato chips and soda. You might feel light and airy at first, but your body will pay the price in the long run. Mars, on the other hand, boasts a more substantial gravitational pull, about 38% of Earth's. That means you'd feel about twice as heavy as you do on the moon, but still significantly lighter than your earthly self. Imagine walking around with a backpack full of textbooks, not unbearable, but definitely noticeable. While this might not seem as immediately detrimental as the moon's low gravity, the long-term effects of Mars's gravity on the human body are still largely unknown. Would our bones and muscles adapt, or would we be plagued by constant aches, pains, and a permanent case of Martian slouch? Only time and more research will tell. So whether you're bouncing around like a weightless wonder on the moon or feeling the constant pull of Mars' gravity, one thing's for sure, your body would never be quite the same. It's like trying to adapt to a world where the rules of physics have been slightly altered. Challenging, disorienting, and maybe even a little bit fun, at least for a while. The final verdict: choose your doom. So there you have it, folks, a cosmic survival guide to two of our closest celestial neighbors. As we've seen, both the moon and Mars offer a smorgasbord of creative ways to meet your demise, each more terrifying and fascinating than the last. But which one takes the cosmic cake for the most brutal way to die? It's a tough call, like choosing between a venomous snakebite and a shark attack. Neither option is particularly appealing. But ultimately, I think the moon takes the crown for sheer brutality. The lack of atmosphere, extreme temperatures, and relentless radiation exposure would make survival nearly impossible, even for the most seasoned astronaut. But hey, that's just my take. If you had to choose your doom, which would it be? A quick demise on the unforgiving lunar surface, or a slow, agonizing decline on the deceptively alluring plains of Mars? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, keep looking up.